Hey YouTube, Israel here with another knife review. Today I have a knife from Cold Steel. This is the G10 Espada, medium sized. And the medium sized Espada has a 3.5 inch blade length. Alright, here you see the entire knife. Alright, let's talk about the blade first here. Nice macro close-up for you. Alright, as you can see, it's a bead blast blade. Alright, it's light gray, and it's an extra wide blade compared to its length. It is a clip point, and those features mean it has a very nice belly on the blade. Okay, great for slicing, and it has a partial hollow grind, and you can see how high up the bevel is. Okay, so there is a lot of grind area on that blade. Right, has a thumb stud opener, but the thumb stud, you see, it's only basically a one-sided thumb stud. It's on the right side, and then that's just a screw head there. All right. Now the handle itself, right, it is a lock back, but specifically it is the Cold Steel triad lock mechanism, a re-engineering of the traditional lock back that's is basically super strong. Alright, now the handle, no liners, it's solid G10, right, but it is very thick, right, and you can see the texture right there. It is a brickwork texturing. You can see how thick the pivot screw is. You can see there's a spacer there, closed construction. That's a metal spacer. I believe it is aluminum. Alright. You can see how thick the actual lock bar is. Dual rows of jimping right there. They are a little bit too recessed though. They don't give that much good traction. I would rate that jimping at a B-. But as far as the texture of the G10 itself, extremely grippy. It would probably be hard on your pockets, but as far as giving you a grip while using the knife, I would rate it as actually an A+. The knife comes set up for tip up right side carry. You see the pocket clip right there. It can be set up for tip up left side carry. This knife comes with two different pocket clips, okay, one that can fit each side. Right, and no tip down carry, so it is basically a two position carry knife. And you see the thumb stud, it comes set up, it's a right side thumb stud, and the opening on this, fairly easy with the right side at least. And you can actually use that screw head as a mini thumb stud. It's definitely not perfect, but you can do it. Right, now the triad lock itself, you do have to push it down a very far amount to get it to disengage. Okay, if I just push it down that much, it will not disengage. You see how much that's going up, and it's still locked. Okay, you have to push it down all the way. All right, so it's not going to be the easiest knife to close with one hand. I'd recommend just to be sure, close it with two hands when possible. But that's a small trade-off for such a secure form of lock, I'd say. Now overall, I have to say this knife is built, it's extremely well built. All right, first of all, the G10 is extremely thick. Even though there's no liners, I can squeeze this as hard as I can, and it will barely compress. I mean, it'll barely deform the handle a tiny bit, but still. All right, if this was Zytel, that would be they'd be touching. All right, so the thickness of the G10, very good, and you see how thick and just durable the components of the locking mechanism itself are. I mean, that's a thick bar of metal right there. I don't know if you can see inside, but yeah, it's very strong lock components. That spacer right there is metal, very strong. I believe it's aluminum, but it's not like a plastic spacer. right? And the tang, the partial tang of the knife itself, you see how deep that partial tang goes in and how wide that partial tang is. That's why there's absolutely no blade play, because there's so much surface area of the partial tang in contact with the G10 that it just makes for an extremely durable and tough knife. So very well built, you could say overbuilt. Even look how thick, how big that pivot screw is, right? So, you know, basically I like that. I mean, I like that this is a super solid knife. You know, the knife was $66, and you know, it does feel like it does not feel cheap in any way. Okay, it feels like it lives up to that kind of medium high price. All right, and the other very interesting thing about this knife is the contour, meaning the shape of the handle itself. You see it has a very deep finger groove right there, and that's basically a sub hilt. All right, and it really protects you. Okay, it really locks you in there, so that's a very good feature. And then it has this part right here, which is known as a pistol grip type handle. All right, and you can see how it fits the curves of a human hand like perfectly. All right, so you can hold it like this. Now, when you're holding it like this, you can see how much of the frame actually goes past where your finger is. And the point with that is that even though this is a 3.5-inch blade, the extra reach it gives you is more like a 4.5-inch blade, right? And the initial sharpness of that AUS 8, you know, Japanese stainless steel blade, it's pretty razor sharp. Cold Steel is known for doing that. All right, and if you want to see it cut something, let's just cut one thing here just to have something being cut. All right, and it cut right through that thick rope. So good initial sharpness, and you know, extra wide blade with a superb belly on that for slicing. It's an excellent design in my opinion. Alright, so overall, I do recommend the knife. The extremely useful contour of the handle, the good texturing, the very unique extra wide blade with the nice belly on it, good sharpness, nice partial hollow grind, and just how overbuilt it is, how durable, well made it is. You know, super solid lockup, no play. Those are all very good features. Now the price on this, you know, when I first bought it, I thought it was a little bit overpriced, but once I got it in my hands, you know, I still think it might be maybe, I don't know, $10 or $15 overpriced, but you know, that's not uncommon in the knife world. I wouldn't be surprised if the price went down, you know, as more of these actually become in stock at a lot of different places, okay? But, you know, I'm a reviewer. I can't wait until it goes down. I have to try and get the review out for you guys as soon as possible. So I bought it for $66, right? And that's not a bargain price, but I feel it's a pretty fair price to get this. Now, why did I choose the medium length when they also have a large, which I believe is 5.5 inches blade length, and an extra large, which I believe is 7.5 inches. So why did I choose the smallest version of this knife? Well, I'll tell you why, or I'll show you why. This is 3.5 inches, right, and my Recon 1 is a clip point that's 4 inches, right? And my XL Voyager, it's listed as 5.5, but it's actually 5.3 inches. Okay, so between those three blades, what I have is a lot of options. All right, they're all triad lock, and they're all clip points. So I have a 4 inch, a 5.3 inch, and a 3.5 inch. So no matter where I'm going or what I'm doing, you know, at least one of those blades will probably fulfill my needs. All right, and if I need something smaller, I have stuff like Skyline, Delica, or even the Cold Steel Counterpoint 2. All right, in summation, the only things that I would change about this would be I would make the thumb stud, I'd go ahead and just make it ambidextrous, right? Dual thumb studs of same size. I would raise up this jimping back here and I would put some texturing on the spine so you could apply more pressure that way. And I would probably change the bead blast to either a stonewash or a satin finish, both for the looks and because that will resist rust a little better. Okay, but those are completely, minor change. And of course, people could say, well, what about a better steel? Well, if you use a better steel, you're going to have to raise the price. Okay, so that's not necessarily an improvement to some people. But, all those points are very minor. Overall, this is a great knife. Great design, both the handle and the blade have a lot of functionality. And I know this is going to be a longer review, but there is a lot to cover with this knife, and basically I think it'll be well worth your time. Okay, a lot of good points about this knife. So there you have it, Cold Steel G10 Medium Espada. Highly recommended. I hope you found this knife review useful to you. Stay tuned for many more reviews. This has been Israel. Peace out, dudes.